Hello everyone, welcome to TC Live for the 18th of, it's October, yeah, we're on 18th of October. Welcome, we are of course discussing Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 1. It feels weird to be saying that all of a sudden, but tonight I'm joined by my co-host Dom. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, yeah. I'm looking forward to talking about this episode. It was definitely interesting, and yeah.
And as you've got blue alert behind you at this point in time, we're going to change to various things throughout the stream.
Probably not throughout the stream, but maybe future streams.
Join back next week for red alerts. And of course, we're joined by Brie, who's returned to us after a little bit of an absence. Brie, how are you doing and how have things been?
I'm good. Finally got moved into my house. My background's completely different if you can't tell.
Indeed. I think you can tell us about that in a minute because I love the flag behind it. That looks great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Anyway, people, tonight we're discussing Discovery Season 3, Episode 1, as we mentioned. I'm just going to quickly put our tweet out and put our background music on because Jack forgot to actually press play on that one. But let's just share this at a minute so everyone knows we are currently live. If you want to follow any of us, links down below in the video description. And of course, you can follow TC on Twitter to keep up to date with all your latest Star Trek universe news, etc. There's been a lot of stuff this week. We'll obviously touch on Discovery Season 4 later, as that was officially confirmed.
Yes.
Not like it wasn't happening anyway. Thanks CBS for good old confirming that one. Might as well just stuck a good old "we told you so" on the announcement. That would have been hilarious. Thank you to all of those who are joining the chat. I see all our regular members. Commander Jack, hello. Donnie, nice to see you again. Sarah, thank you to all who are coming along. Greatly appreciated. Don't forget, we're back here every Sunday at 9 p.m. BST talking about Star Trek for you, answering your questions and discussing the latest episode. So yeah, I think if we dive into it, Season 3 of Discovery, wow. Episode 1 really introduced us into the 32nd century. That was definitely a blast into the new future. And Don, why don't you take it away with your first impressions of the episode?
Okay, so now don't hate me, but my first impressions was I was kind of disappointed. I guess I was just expecting more from this episode, but I will say upon rewatch, I definitely really enjoyed the stuff we got in this episode. It really sets up the 32nd century to be this future we haven't seen in Trek before. You know, you've got personal ships with cloaking devices, portable teleporters, programmable matter, all this, holographic talking alarm clock birds, all the great stuff.
I want one. We all need one of those now.
Yeah.
If CBS are doing the merchandise right, that is what I want out by Christmas, to be honest. It's one of those going off somewhere. Before I move to you, Brie, thank you to Pew Pew Punch Raw Meow for the donation of $2. Yeah, that is, to be honest. Saying they better not kill off Sahil. No, yes, well, hopefully they don't. We'll be discussing his character in a bit more detail later on, as I think that's like a new favourite character for everybody in the Star Trek universe. Now, Brie, your first impressions with Season 3, Episode 1. How did you feel about the whole episode?
I actually really liked it. I wasn't expecting that much. I'm the polar opposite of you. I thought it was going to be a lot slower, but I don't know. I had a lot of fun watching it, and I mean, I didn't know what was in. I'm trying to think how to explain it. Like, nothing was obvious to me, so I didn't know what he was carrying cargo-wise. I couldn't even begin to guess, and it's funny because now looking at it, I was like, wait, that's literally in the trailer. How did I not put two and two together? But that might just be a complete miss on my part. But and the whole fight scene was just really fun to watch, especially with Burnham being drugged the whole time. I absolutely got a kick out of it. I was laughing so hard the entire time.
Yeah, we've gotten some great gifs,
I was
like reaction pictures from that. Yeah,
it was like my favorite thing. I was like, when I saw it happen on the episode, I'm like, that's gonna be a GIF. I can guarantee you, it's already out there in the world right now. It's a GIF. It's a meme. It's been put out. But I had fun watching it. And then, of course, is it Sahil? Is that
yes?
Sahil. Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. I really do. He got me emotional. I don't know why, but I got so emotional in that scene.
For me, his line of like, "Hello, welcome to Starfleet, may I help you?" was so chilling in a way, because like the element of Starfleet still exists in the 32nd century, through him. He is the embodiment of it. So to me, it's like that. I suppose they wrote it that way. That line is almost so chilling in a way, because not only for us the viewers, also for Burnham as well, who is now in the 32nd century at this current point in time. She doesn't know if a Discovery made it there or if it made it there alive. For all she knows, everyone she knew is dead. Which, when you think about it, fuck, that's quite bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I really liked his characters. It's like very new, and like I say, we always knew something mysterious about him when he popped up in the trailer and had his magical flag of destiny over there. Now it's actually been revealed, and he's hung it up on the wall. I mean, me and Dom had a discussion, about your was it values, and you're not hanging the flag up. If that was me, I would have hung that thing up a while ago.
So much principles.
40 years, bollocks to that.
40 years.
I really liked that character. The fact that he was there for 40 years, just hoping, and then him getting the commission from Burnham made me just real. I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, that was so sweet. Like, he deserved that.
I'll definitely say like his little talk
40 years
being like
technically a commissioned officer because it didn't exist. I really liked it. It was a good episode. I think it set up for a lot of cool things to happen this season.
Yeah, I'll say his like little dialogue of, I don't know if the Federation is still out there, but I do my thing to keep it alive. Just like he is the finest Federation officer.
It is very much like the values of other Federation staff that also seen for. An example could be Captain Janeway, who stranded in the Delta Quadrant, so many light years away from Starfleet, the Federation. She still kept the values of the Federation and Starfleet true to her core and the rest of the crew. So here is just another variation of that in a way, where it's like he's still keeping the values of the Federation and Starfleet, doing his job he was given and almost born to do in a way. So he's keeping up with that like essence in a way. Does that kind of make sense? I think that's how you see it in a way. It's like it's very Starfleet to the core in a way.
Yeah,
doing
definitely.
the job until like his last breath, essentially. Did you say
like,
episode 2 will visit Sahil's Island on Animal Crossing? What?
Yeah, someone said that 40 years, that's a lot of Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Imagine what games you have in like the 32nd century. I mean, hopefully that man had a holodeck on that station, because else what the hell would you do the whole time? Talk to that friggin' bird.
So talking like the programmable matter and being like, okay, his bed can just disappear. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You don't have to make your bed. The future's here.
The future's
but,
now.
Would you really need a holodeck if you have this programmable matter? And like, we've seen the holographic alarm clock. It seems like his office just doubles up as a holodeck at this point.
Me and Don, we watched this episode together, and I think Nick was sat in the group chat at the time, and I said, what happens if a desk just disappears while he's sat on it? I'm like, it's just going to be a bit embarrassing, wouldn't it? It's like, hello, welcome to Star Shitting Hell. I'm just falling off the desk. I find that hilarious. Sean Casey, thank you for your $10 donation. Was a strange first episode, not what I expected. At least aliens look familiar, not like orcs. And at least I didn't have to look at the God of Discovery. Onwards and upwards. Hey, you leave that alone. But yeah, thank you, Sean, for your donation there. The aliens, that's a good point, actually.
Yes.
I all felt so when we went to the marketplace in the episode, Booker and Burnham, they went to whoever came up with 2 Bs, by the way, F you. They went to the marketplace, a futuristic city, and here we see an Orion and Andorian. There's a few other species in the background if you can view them. Now, the Orions I find creepy. They're very plasticky, not to the same type of plastic that was used in Enterprise, if we use that as a comparison, because that's the most modern series compared to this one. I just find them a little bit weird to look at.
I'll say, we did see Orions in some of the short treks and obviously in season 1 of Discovery. So we know they still look normal. I would take it as more these Orions maybe had too much like Botox or
maybe it's just polishing up.
The main one we saw, I think his name was E4 or Efix. As a gangster, he probably just made himself look nice with all his profit. That's where I'm going with my head.
I mean, as a gangster, you usually want to look tough, and I mean, not that people with makeup can't look tough. I'm not stereotyping anything here. However, it's like not the most aggressive stance, is it? I don't know.
No.
The Andorians, though, I still find them a little bit weird. I don't.
Yeah, just the.
I understand
like,
the evolution of the design.
eyebrows.
Yeah, this sort of like the ridge structure in a way. It's a bit creepy for me. I prefer the Enterprise Andorians, but I guess it's a design evolving at the end of the day.
And then we also got a lot of more legacy aliens, so ones we haven't seen in ages. So we found Lurians, one species. I hope they never talk. There were some Cardassians, which you could see in the background, and then some the motion picture aliens and movie aliens, which we haven't seen since those movies. So Cosmo, the other courier who was harassing Book. He was a Beetlejuicean,
right?
Which you see in the background on the Enterprise in the motion picture, which is just like, that's a deep cut. That's a nice reference, and they've evolved the design and it actually looks nice, because I will say that the Beetlejuicean, I'm going to keep just saying that, in the motion picture did not look good. Their mouths look weird. These ones look better.
I can't wait for Memory Alpha to be updated about one later.
Yep.
So Brie, what did you think of the aliens like overall? Because if we got obviously a new look at the 32nd century, what did you think of the aesthetic and also the aliens themselves?
I will agree with you. I didn't like the look of the
You're right.
Andorians. It was I don't want to say jarring because it wasn't that drastic, but it's gonna take me some getting used to. Yeah, the big brows, just I don't know. It's just something about them made me feel like uneasy. I don't know. They're much more intimidating with this look than the Enterprise look. I'll give them that, but I do like the Enterprise Andorians better.
Yeah, I know what you mean. For me, it's just, things change with each series. They change the artistic outlook of stuff. It's like video games, where everyone has their own take on stuff. There's nothing majorly wrong with that unless you completely... I mean, if the Andorians came out green, then we'd have a problem. But, they're still the same to the end of the day. They could make up an excuse saying it's a subset of a species, whatever, something like that. You can... With lore and canon, you can bend it to suit whatever explanation these days. That's a good one.
Especially with how they dealt with Romulans in Picard. Being like, okay, the ones with brows are Northern Romulans, the ones not the smooth foreheads, the Southern. So they could just be like, yeah those are Northern Andorians.
What I did like was that worm alien thing, the design of that.
The trans worm. Yeah.
Yes, I really liked that one. I don't know. I don't know what it was about the design of it that caught my attention, but I think it's the same thing that caught my attention with the tardigrade. I think they might have done that same aesthetic where it's supposed to be scary, but then it ends up being kind of cute. And I just like things like that. It's the environmental scientist in me. I'm over here like, protect those space worms. Overly emotional about these fictional space worms.
It wasn't just like the trans worm, but at the very beginning where Burnham and Bookship, the Nautilus, is crashing to the planet, you see those two little, like, one's a butterfly insect and one's a stick insect, and it opens up its entire body to eat it. Just those little details. I like
those kind of aliens a lot more. I think like the more animal aliens versus like the humanoid aliens, because I feel like there's so much you can do with them. And I got a kick out. I don't know why, but I got a kick out of when you just ate it, and then the ship was landing, and he turns and looks at it. Just I really like the design.
That whole ship crash is a bit, because Bookship supposedly quote unquote crashes, yet everything inside is perfectly fine, it never,
because it's the future.
But bollocks to the future, Dom. I want the cats thrown around, the boxes everywhere. In Star Trek, if anything that crashes, it goes everywhere and rocks fall from the ceiling.
Rocks fall from the ceiling, yeah.
Maybe by the 32nd century, they finally got rid of the rocks inside of Starfleet starships.
Finally.
Took them a while.
As an intersection here, before we move on to discussing everything else, so season 4 of Star Trek Discovery is now officially confirmed, which is fantastic. CBS confirmed that one on Friday, the 16th of October, via a special YouTube video with the cast. It's Michelle Paradise, Alex Kurtzman, Doug Jones, Sonequa Martin Green, all got together in this little video via Virtual Trek, etc. And they confirmed it. And season 4 is resuming production, or scheduled to start production in November 2nd. So not that many weeks away till they start now. This is dependent on COVID-19 and lockdown restrictions, etc. So we'll see how that goes down. But season 4 of Discovery being officially confirmed. Stick it, YouTubers. No. But fantastic that's confirmed now. It's not like we didn't know it's happening anyway. I mean, hell, Alex Kurtzman's even teased season 5 and years left of Discovery, which I would personally say you could bend it to a season 6 if really you wanted to push that agenda. But season 4, what do we think about that, guys?
Well, I think what's interesting, and I only thought about this when this news that season 4 is official came out, that I think... So this episode is called That Hope Is You Part 1. There is no That Hope Is You Part 2 this season. So it could be that the Part 2 is in next season, and, the situation we're dealing with in this season isn't entirely wrapped up, or another facet of it still needs to be solved in season 4. So that's where my brain was going. But really, I have no idea where season 4 will go. I'm just excited that it's happening.
Well, it could
and
be that
hopefully they
this-
stay in this future.
It could be that this story is an overarching one. You know, how Voyager's whole like 7 seasons was getting back to the Alpha Quadrant. Discovery's next 2 seasons could be about restoring a Federation. Restoring a giant galactic community is not an overnight job. It's not like, you know, defeating Leland Section 31. It's going to take a week. This is going to take a lot longer. So it's possible they could stretch the story out into season 4. Now, one thing I do want to bring up as well, moving back into our season 3 discussion, and that is about the dilithium explosion, which we heard about. So I've seen a lot of questions and things raised about this, and people go, "Oh, dilithium can't explode," stuff like that. Dom, as our resident Trek expert, what are your thoughts on the whole context of dilithium exploding and somehow causing the burn, etc.?
It's definitely interesting. Wasn't something that I would ever predict. And the fact that we know dilithium to be stable as a material, whatever, definitely poses some questions. And I think it's good that it poses those questions because they can make some interesting story of that. Why is this supposedly stable material suddenly blows up? So I think it's a great way to add some mystery. And it definitely explains why the Federation couldn't rebuild to the extent it was after the burn. And even though they tried, they just couldn't. They lost so many ships.
It's pretty interesting the way that's like taking, because I've seen a lot of people discussing it and like criticizing the story. Oh, dilithium doesn't explode. Yeah, but it's the 32nd century.
Theory about that.
Oh, tell us your theory. Go on.
Okay, so it's this convoluted one. It's
No, go for it. Go for it.
Conspiracy theorist, but so you know how the sphere builders had the ability to like alter the fabric, like the physics of the universe. I mean, if something is stable, it's not going to just not become stable unless the rules and laws of physics change to make it not stable. Which then I'm like, okay, it's set in a time we already know. I'm not saying it's the sphere builders. I don't think that's the case, but I think it's going to be another one of those circumstances where like an alien race has the ability to alter the fabric of physics somehow to cripple the Federation for their own purposes. Very similar to how hell, if it's the sphere builder, I'm going to lose my shit. But I really think that that's kind of what it's going to lead towards, is some alien, super powerful alien or something somehow changed the laws of physics enough to fuck with Starfleet. Sorry, I'm being very... I've been thinking about this since that episode because I was like, there's no way dilithium can just not be stable anymore that I can think of outside of changing physics.
Something has definitely changed along the line to cause this. And you mentioning the spear builders there builds into, obviously, with being very close to the Temporal Cold War, which is a big thing at the stretch of Enterprise. Temporal War was also referenced in this episode as well by an offhand comment by Booker. If you blink or just step away from it, you will miss the comment. Hopefully the Temporal Cold War is explored a bit more in season 3 of Discovery. I would hate that they've just made one small comment and that's it. We're never discussing it again, because that would really lose it. But I really think once they meet up with Starfleet, or what's left of Starfleet in the Federation, they're going to go, oh, by the way, we fought a bunch of these wars. We lost one of them, hence why we're here now. Look at... Whoops. But yeah, it's... Spear builders, it could be a good thing. And, you know, the whole Temporal Cold War was factions fucking around with each other behind the scenes in the past to screw with the other one in the future.
They can't mess up something in the past to benefit them later. And that's kind of what I was thinking with the whole, the burn, and it specifically hits Starfleet so heavily. I mean, not just it's dilithium, it's the main thing, but it's the main source that Starfleet uses. If you wanted to cripple Starfleet, you crippled dilithium.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Temporal Cold War is, I mean, they mentioned it, and obviously it's in... They said it's ended, I guess, but it had just relatively ended recently. So who's to say it doesn't get brought back up? I mean, it's happened several times. The factions in the Temporal Cold War weren't from the same time. They're all from different times anyway.
So before I go on to that one, Terry, thank you for $5 donation. He says, afraid my source of Cedric Kurtzman's gone rogue and it's all a hoax. I think there's a new drinking game to made. Every time someone says sources, you'll take a shot of whatever you've got. In my case, it's tea, but we can change that for vodka very quickly. Moving back to that point there, the Temporal Cold War. In the last time we saw Daniel's Enterprise, which is season 4, in Stormfront, I believe it was, the episode. Correct me, it's the one where we went back in World War II with that group of people with uniforms we don't mention. And that basically, you said the Temporal Cold War is coming to a close. However, because it's temporal, it coming to a close in the past, it could still be raging on in the future. Time and Star Trek and stuff like that is very complex and very weird. What's happening now is happening completely different in some other place in the past or future. When you say it like that, you're confused. I know, you look at me like I'm a madman. Don't worry. But yeah, like you say, that something could be going on. There's no reason to say it didn't start back up again. Book says, a lot of the factions destroyed their time travel equipment. Did they ever? Did they ever?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The fact that they've mentioned the temporal Cold War the way they did in the first episode really makes me think that this season is going to be what I've hoped and dreamed for and talked to you guys about for months on end, which is a continuation or like a closure to the story of the temporal Cold War that we never got. And as an Enterprise fan, I absolutely need. So
I'm going to disagree with that and just say that line of dialogue was just put in there to stop people from saying, oh, but they've got time travel technology. Why didn't they just fix this? I think that's the only reason why it was thrown in there. It's a nice continuity thing, but I think it was just so people on the internet wouldn't be as angry as they could be.
So one other comment I'm also seeing, back to the dilithium thing as well, a lot of people saying, oh, well, the whole galaxy doesn't use dilithium. The Romulan Star Empire used collapsed singularities or something to power their, their quote-unquote warp drives, etc. So, but also, the last time we saw the Romulans, back in Picard, their planet exploded and their civilization went to shit, to put it lightly.
Oh, no, that's...
Dom's gone to red alert. Apparently that theory brought some ideas up, but no, they went to basically shit. So, I don't know, obviously people could switch to using singularities, but we are seeing warp travel is still possible in the 32nd century. It's just dilithium has gone bust, the main fuel source in a way. And there's still elements of it, but people are running around like, trying to give their life for dilithium in a way. Quantum slipstream technology is also present, and he did mention something else as well, which I forgot.
Dynamite?
Yeah,
there's something else. Dynamite to use the quantum slipstream. He talked about something about trilithium, but I can't remember what that was referencing.
All we just need is a couple of those Borg conduits, and hey, what's up?
But talking about the fact that the Romulans used singularity drives, it could be the fact that, it's been 930 years. For all we know, the Romulans and the Klingons, they had already joined the Federation by that point. So they were like, okay, we're serving on Federation starships now. They use warp drive. We don't need to use our singularity drive ships anymore.
930 years is a lot of time, and I feel like people need to just stop for a second, take that into account. It's a hell of a long time. You think at the rate things changed in Star Trek. I mean, the Dominion War, that was a bloody big event, but took place, in what? Was it a year or two? Was it 3 years?
Like 2 years.
2 years, yeah. Or just say, let's round it to 3 for argument's sake. 3 years and the whole thing was done. So 930 years. Imagine what the hell has been going on since then. And imagine how many different enterprises we've had.
It only took like 100 or 200 years for the Klingons to be allies with the Federation. What's 900 years? They probably don't have to join the Federation.
Raymond donates $2 and says, how does Zephram Cochrane power his warp engine? It's a good question, actually. Has that been stated how he powered it? I thought it was a reactor or something. But
that was a reactor. There are other ways to power warp engines. It's just dilithium is the most stable for the energy to go through it. Because in the original series, they do talk about other ways, other materials that can be used in place of dilithium. It's just dilithium is the most efficient.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. So obviously later on when, Starfleets went out there with the NX-01, etc., they sought out dilithium, and you already had trade ships running around with lower grade warp engines at that point in time.
So that's why the Phoenix could only make probably warp 1 or whatever it made. And it couldn't go to warp 5 like the NX-01 Enterprise did.
One of my favourite moments of Enterprise is when they finally push it past like warp 5, as Archer goes, well, it's a warp 5 engine trip. He's like, on paper, and then they push it past. I love Enterprise. I've still not finished my rewatch of it yet, just because I don't want to watch the ending episode. In the space of me not watching it.
You don't want to watch Demons and Terra Nova?
Which one's Demons
the ending
again?
Episodes, right?
Which one's Demons again?
The Human Supremacist.
Oh, it's that one, is it? I always remember just Terra Nova, and I think it's one episode, to be honest. I always forget. But no, I've not watched In a Mirror Darkly yet.
Good ending.
I don't watch the I don't know. Watch episodes from the original series, The Alternate Factor, Dilithium was affected and the universe was at risk, says Amir. Thank you for that donation. There we go. There's still a lot to learn, and people are jumping and criticizing the story just yet, saying, oh, it's terrible, Dilithium doesn't explode. wait, there's 12 other episodes to explore this plot line. They're not going to give it away in the first episode. Who the fuck does that, to be honest? That would ruin the show. Give it a rest and wait. Trucklight says, Enterprise never ended, exactly. Where's our season 5, CBS, huh? Wouldn't it be hilarious if at the end of season 3 of Discovery, the USS Titan F came in and saved the day?
Oh my
with,
God.
like, you know, Jonathan Frakes Riker or something like that. I don't know, just some made-up captain name along the way. He saved 2 series endings now. He can do another. Let's go for the full house. That would be quite funny.
And I mean, if Brent Spiner can keep coming back as
no.
a Sung, I'm sure Jonathan Frakes can come back as another Riker.
I feel like the genes in Star Trek are just powerful as all get out, because every single generation is identical to their great.
Worf's granddad looked the exact same as Worf and was called Worf. So
today are things that just make sense.
Yeah, you just go with it.
So obviously, looking at this episode, we basically got to explore the story of Michael Burnham, her experience in the 32nd century. It gave us a taste of what to expect for the 32nd century in Discovery Season 3. However, we have not seen the USS Discovery so far, the big ship of the actual, series. So, Brie, where do you think the Discovery is? Do you reckon we're going to see it next episode, or maybe later on in the season, depending on how episode 1 played out?
I haven't seen episode 2 like you guys, so I feel like I'm just going to be shooting wild in the dark. What I thought was going to happen was we were going to get their side of it in episode 2, like how episode 1 was all Burnham's side. Episode 2, I am still going to assume, because I haven't seen anything, is the Discovery side, but I also could be completely wrong, and it could just be they could have another 3, 4, 5 episodes of no Discovery, but that was what I had assumed. But I'm starting to think that's not going to be the case, that it's not going to be like a just Discovery-based episode without Burnham, but that's what I was thinking.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out when the Discovery actually appears.
And when it appears.
Exactly. I just want to play one comment a minute I just saw in the chat here. John000 says, but we did see a second ship of the Discovery era in the trailers. Now, we did our trailer breakdown for the Season 3 preview. This is a trailer that occurs after Episode 1 on CBS All Access. I'm not sure if it appears on Netflix's version. I'd have to check. But it appears on CBS All Access. And Dom, you watched this video with me, and you watched the trailer as well. At the very end, it shows a couple of ships exploding in some ways, presumably when the burn occurs, I'm going to presume.
Yeah.
And it shows a 23rd century Hiawatha type, which is where Jet Reno was found, or a ship she was found on, which is really odd how they just used that one there, isn't it? I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I just rectified it as they probably used the same design, but it's
I
probably
know,
updated.
but it's so many years out of date. It just doesn't.
Yeah, but it's.
I just hope it's not reusing assets for the sake of trying to build in canon there, because it's pretty
No, it's probably just for costs.
Oh,
I mean,
I understand
the amount of beautiful CG we got in this episode that works, like the transworm, the ship, everything looked beautiful.
It did.
I'm fine with them then skimping on that ship there.
For me, I guess because I'm a Starship person, it kind of irks me a bit more, because I like seeing new futuristic starships. And given we've had so many variations of ships before, instead of like the Aeon time ship, or however it was pronounced, with Brax and his crew and the other bloke who came and saved the day all the time. And then we had tons of other time ships we've seen in Star Trek Online. It's could easily include one of them and have that blow up. It would make a lot more sense. The model's already out there somewhere. It probably wouldn't take that long to CGI it back up again, rather than reusing this one. It just seems a bit of a weak thing. Then again, the ship in the background, there's another Starfleet ship which almost looked like a 4-nacelle one. That potentially could have been a new one as well. Once we see the scene close and we actually see the episodes included, we can make our final judgment. But just on that type there, it's please don't say we're doing another Star Trek short trek for Picard again, where we're using the assets, because that's I understand it's using the budget, and they actually curtailed that one in by going, they were retrofitting older ships, but it is just slightly weaker at the same time. It's it just irks me, because it's we get all these good scenes, we get these good-looking aliens within reason, and then it's it lets itself down on that side. It's just one nitpick I generally have as a Starship person.
I will say though, some of the debris ships we see in this episode. So the first one, which Burnham falls through, is kind of Crossfield-like. It has the central bridge pod. We we see that it has NCC and USS on it. We don't see the name or the registry.
Yeah, they're very cagey about that one.
And then the one you see at the at Sahil's relay station at the end, where it's kind of got like an interweaving lattice on top of the saucer, looks very interesting. And I hope we see a normal, unbroken version of that ship, because like when Sahil was looking for signals, he did say there are 2 Starfleet ships in flight in this 600 light year radius or whatever it was. So it'll be nice to see some future ships and what they look like. Because, you know, the Nautilus already looks great. Cosmo's weird spinny ship looks great. It kind of gives me a jellyfish vibe.
Yeah, I saw that one. I like
Star
that.
Trek 2009. So just, you know, we've seen some of this new tech. I want to see some of this new ships. It'll be great.
Yeah, I agree. New ships are going to be great. And also, we've seen him a trailer before. One thing to do a quick up while we're discussing the preview trailer. In one of the clips, Burnham is out searching for clues to the burn, or maybe she's searching for Discovery. We don't know yet. She's handed what looks like a cylinder chip from Star Wars, which says NCC-477, what looks like another 4. And it's like, oh, what is this mystery? We're teasing Starship registrations. Who the fuck is NCC-4744?
She just bought the keys to a new ship.
Yeah, she's bought one.
And that's just this registry. Yeah, it's just on a code cylinder.
She gets the keys thinking it's going to be a Sovereign class, arrives, it's an orbit. She's like, shit. She's been conned out of a ship. It's just a Ford Fiesta. It's a Tesla Roadster in space. There you go.
Made its way all the way here.
T.
Just took it 900 years.
So other points of this episode as well, we get to learn a bit more about Book, who's our new character, played by David Ajala. Now, I loved his entrance as a character, because David Ajala has obviously been playing British characters for a while. Those British inflections using, such as the sarcasm, absolutely loved it. Somebody's also British, gotta respect that, it's fantastic. I loved his character. Brie, what did you think of him for our first introduction of Book?
I liked him a lot. I'm trying to think of what really sold me on it. Like, the fight scene in the beginning was good, but I think it was when he actually went to the ship and was showing her around. He had the cat, and okay, I'm just gonna come out and say the reason I really like him is because he cares about animals. We're just gonna say that. The fight, like where he was going out of his way to save the transwarp worm, or the transworm.
No, we're calling it the transwarp worm now. It's a lot funnier.
Yep.
Transwarp worm. Yeah, the transworm.
Now I'm just getting Star Trek 3 flashbacks.
Something about that character, and just the way that I think that they're trying to build him up to be this, I don't want to say like how it was in Picard with I don't know why I can't think of his name right now.
Rios.
Thank you. Where you've got like this rough, tough smuggler kind of guy who's also got a really sweet side. I think that's a little bit what they're going for, but in a completely different direction. And I really like that kind of character. So I really liked the whole, in the first half, he's just like this badass kick-ass. And then the second half of the episode, it shows his softer side, a more like human side versus just out there kicking butt and, you know, like a lot of shows do, where it's just like, oh yeah, they're good at fighting and they don't have character at all.
That's it. How to write characters 101.
Fight. So I really liked the character. I think both the new characters that we got that I think are going to, well, obviously he's going to be reoccurring, but I don't know why I can't remember his name again.
Sahil?
Mr. Sahil.
Sahil, yeah. Yeah, I think I like both of those characters, and I'm really excited to see what they do in the rest of the season.
Imagine being on that station for 40 years, though. Jesus Christ. You think you'd have decorated it a bit more at that point.
Yeah.
It's 40 years, Dom. 40. I know you sat there going, well, he has perfect,
he keeps putting decorations up, but then it keeps just disintegrating as soon as he wakes up.
40 years! He could have cleaned up the outside in that time, honestly. Lazy
but
kid.
He was too busy watching The Office.
Yeah, he was too busy just waiting for someone to call.
That was his duty.
What did you say? Okay.
That was his duty.
I cannot wait to see Tilly and Grudge in a room, says Alex. Oh yeah, that would be interesting, isn't it? Grudge the cat. That's obviously the queen of the show.
We see a scene in one of the trailers of Grudge and Tilly interacting. And it's what you expect.
Yeah, I think he's got it on her back or something. It's like
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's right. I do remember that, and that's right.
It's like when you get a friend's cat and it just goes everywhere, so they don't know how to handle it. Amir, thank you for $5 donation. They say, I hope Grudge the cat turns out to be a changeling. I have seen multiple comments about this. It would be hilarious if it just turns into another bloke going, the hell have you been doing?
Be, interesting because it would link to, is it Operation Annihilate? I don't think it's that episode. The one with Gary Seven.
Oh, it might be.
Oh, yeah.
The comic explored that one recently. You were chatting with people in our Discord server about this, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the fact that Gary Seven's cat Isis is a shapeshifter.
Yeah,
from
the new comic series, Star Trek Year 5, its later issues explored that. It had Gary Seven and Warren Jacobs and everything.
Right.
So it definitely would be interesting if it links to that. And then you'll be like, oh, because, season 2 linked to the cage. No one expected that. But linking to Gary 7 would be insane.
Star Trek's going to constantly be one of those. Nobody expected that.
Yeah.
So they were originally going to make a spin-off show with him. So
yeah, it was meant to be a soft pilot.
Recycle the idea, and Gary Seven, he was a time traveler. He's good. It's perfect. It matches up. It'll be good.
Can we just have a break from time travel in general at this point? My head's just spinning.
But it's Gary Seven.
I don't care if it's Dave.
Your favorite
it's just
character from the original series.
I've not watched the original series properly. Sacrilege. I'm not watching it. End of. No, I'll say it now. I can't watch it. I just don't enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's Star Trek, but it's old. It's too old.
I can understand that. Don't worry.
It's like you, Dom. You're too old.
I'm younger than you.
Shit. How younger are you than me? Was it 2 months?
A couple months.
Damn.
Not much.
Damn. Tyler Spot says, Jack and Dom Wilson, thank you very much. Gary Seven caused the burn. Yeah, we're just going to blame it on him now. Who can we blame? Alex Kurtzman caused the burn. There we go. That's it. I can't wait for that.
Well, yeah, of course he did. He wrote it.
Yeah, that's true.
What was it? I saw something on Twitter because I scroll through multiple Twitter accounts, and someone's like, "Oh, I hope the USS Alex Kurtzman turns up in a Discovery season film. Like, that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Just politely in the background." That's what NCC 4774 is. But speaking of that, as I brought out earlier, someone reminded me in the comments. The number 4774, and I've not checked this yet, is apparently Michael Burnham's Funko Pop registry number. Someone said that. I'd have to check the comments on the video.
I don't believe that to be right.
Yeah, I'd double check it later.
47 is like a recurring Easter egg.
Is that the answer to the universe or something like that? Or?
That's 42.
That's 42. Okay, I don't know. I didn't do maths that well, so.
47 appears many times in Trek.
Does it?
Just because.
Why not?
Yeah, I think there's some reason, but I can't remember it. And just like a lot of props that have numbers, just put 47 in it.
Terry says Alex Kurtzman's name is on the Discovery's dedication plaque, so he's technically canon.
Yes.
Way.
Admiral Alex Kurtzman.
I'm now just thinking of that poster, which is Alex Kurtzman in the weird leather jacket with the Federation flag.
He said it before I could, because I was going to say I was going to say, you mean like 42 in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but someone beat me to it.
So Pew Pew here says, so sad I'm an old school Trekkie and I don't even really want to watch TOS anymore. I do adore it. Oh, for TOS movies, all of those movies I absolutely love. The Undiscovered Country is like my all-time favourite. I can stomach it just for Scotty and Aurora's banter. I can stomach it. But also the Wales movie, and also I don't give a shit if you call it the Wales movie. It still makes you a Star Trek fan. I saw this argument on Twitter in the week. Like, if you're calling it the Wales movie, you're not a Star Trek fan. I'm just going to call it that now.
The one with the whales.
The one with the whales.
The
That's how you know you're a Star Trek fan. Unless you've watched it, you wouldn't know that. It's like Star Trek 3, the one with small Spock or something like that. Oh no, the one with the creepy Klingon.
No, that's the one with Doc Brown.
Oh yeah, that's the one with Doc Brown. What do we refer to number 5 then, or just the one we don't talk about?
God.
What does God need of a spaceship?
Exactly.
You can't just say, God damn, Jim, you can't ask the Almighty. Oh, you gotta love it, haven't you? 47743 is the Burnham Funko. Random note, 47744 is the Saru Funko. Oh, maybe there's some reference there or something.
Are there that many Funkos?
I have some on my shelf of Star Wars ones. People now get them for my birthday.
My Star Trek one's 189. Are there really that many?
No, I think it's a registry number, not the actual number.
Oh God, I was gonna say there's no way there's that many Funkos.
Then again, I have on my shelf at the minute. I have 95 and 338 and 326. So yeah, Damn, that's quite a lot. The second sister is the 381, I think. The TOS films are wonderful, especially with 2 to 4 trilogy. Oh, they are great. I love them. I think Control caused Burn to find a way to go back in time again. Let's just leave Control out of it now. No more Section 31.
Anywhere near season 3. I wasn't a fan of that plotline to begin with.
Oh, all right, Discord.
The only
There we go.
reason I'll accept if we have any more Control stuff is if it eventually becomes Zora from Calypso, the AI on Discovery.
So
That's the only way I'll take Control coming back.
that's something to take into account, because Calypso obviously takes place after season 3. We've got that to play with. Now, Calypso supposedly takes place in the 33rd century. Roughly, that's the estimate, I believe. It's based in the far future. People theorize it's the 33rd century.
It really depends how they play with the I've been here for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
If they're literal with that, then it's the 42nd century. If they're just like,
Jesus.
I'm 1,000 years in the future from when I originally was, then it's 70 years in the future.
There's something to check out there and how that plays out, but that short, because it's a short trek, they could probably easily retcon side of it to say, yeah. What now? What colour are you? Is this your friend upstairs who's got the control again?
It might be. And
they're watching the stream, just changing it.
I apologize.
Let's test the fact. Can we have him on yellow if you are watching? Be hilarious. Raymond donates $2. Says 47 is a J.J. Abrams thing, is it? I'm pretty sure 47 was in Trek before J.J.
47 has been in Trek for a long time since the Next Generation.
He's a big Star Trek fan, though, so...
Yeah.
I can't remember which one he's a fan of. It's either Star Wars or Star Trek. He's a fan of both, I think. So yeah, moving on. I'll ask something. I forgot what I was going to bring up now. This episode, what was it again? We learned about books. We covered about one. We've talked about Sahil, and what else is it I wanted to bring up? I think the rest of season 3 predictions in that case. So we've seen the preview trailer, but we also see one clip in the preview trailer. Now, Brie, you've seen the preview clip at the end of episode 1, haven't you? What's coming up?
I saw it.
In it, they say there's a little sequence where the person's name I can't pronounce, the lady who's the ops lady on Discovery, sits beside Taylor. Yeah. Oh, I can call it Owo, can't I? Because that's what Pike did. Thank Christ for that as a get out free jail card. Now, when she says, "Oh look, there she is," and then it opens to a panel shot of a Discovery approaching a blue-looking planet. Safe to presume that might be Earth in a way. What do we think about that?
Yeah, I thought that too.
You thought it was too, did you?
Yeah, I thought so too.
Discovery revisiting Earth. One of the episodes is called "The People of Earth," and that's episode 3, I think, isn't it?
There you go.
I think that's episode 3, and that's also a Jonathan Frakes directed episode.
Ooh.
It is episode 3 here.
I like when he directs episodes.
You know they're going to be good. Imagine if Frakes had a cameo in season 3, that'd be great. But yeah, The People of Earth, that appears to be, hopefully it's going to be a good episode, and that shot in a trailer potentially aligns with that. If the Federation are going to be anywhere, they're still going to be on Earth, which is arguably the center point of the Federation, which is, people argue about that. But I think, that is where they're going to go. It makes sense as well. Oh, we need to find out what happened to the Federation. We still have our spore drive. Well, let's just pop Stamets in the cube and fuck off over there and way.
Yeah.
In that trailer as well, we also see Stamets gets new controls for the spore cube.
I saw that too, yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. What
it's
did you
better
think
than
about
being
those?
stabbed in the arm. So.
Yeah, because he has his things in his arms. What did you think about the controls, Dom? And the new com badge?
I like the new com badge. The only question is if you have to get a new com badge every time you rank up.
Maybe it just changes.
It has the rank pips. But I think because they have programmable matter, it just changes. I want it to be... You remember the ECH, the Emergency Command Hologram episode? I think it was Tinker, Tenor, Dr. Spy.
Dr. Spy,
Yeah. When he's like, computer activate emergency command hologram, and then
the
like
pips,
color change when the pips appear. I want that to happen on your com badge if you get promoted.
Yes.
That's my wish. And then in terms of like the interface for Stamets, it's better than being stabbed in the arm.
I can turn my volume up. I'm just scared to turn it up too high because I'm scared for feedback. I'll put it on max though.
That's fine.
It's fine as it was.
I'm sure.
People were saying it was too quiet, so I'm putting my mic on max now.
Oh, okay.
However easy it is to have a socket in your arm, I'm sure just touching stuff is better than having something stick in your arm. So yeah,
I mean,
It's
you can
cool.
always get those controls that Rios had in Picard, the holographic ones, which were weird to say the least.
So
Speaking of
I will
controls,
say-
that's one thing we didn't touch on.
Mm.
And Dom, I think you're about to mention it as well.
Yes,
Book
I
ship is controlled by these tactile controls, which do look a little bit weird, and I don't know how I'd be feel using them, but notice the controls. Dom, you've obviously noticed this and probably read up on it. What did you think of it?
So I think it's very cool. I remember there's a video by E.C. Henry about the holographic controls of Picard and how having it more be the controls change to what you're used to. So if you're used to helicopter controls, then it gives you a joystick or whatever, and it just changes to work for you as a person. I feel like the tactile control does that more than the holographic, because with holographic you don't have much tactile response to it. Your hand just goes straight through.
It did look very weird.
But I really liked it.
In a way. It looked like pins.
Yeah, it's like those child's toy pin things, which you can put your hand in and it puts an imprint of your hand.
I'd be
You put on
afraid
your
to touch
face.
it.
I thought that too. That
But
was the
I
first
like
thing I thought of.
I'd be afraid to touch it. I'm not that a fan of it. It's just, you touch it, it's like, ow, it's going to hurt. Yeah, it just works as like a controls, and it's very futuristic in a way. I can't wait to see what more futuristic systems we had, because we had personal transporters, which, as I explained in our review, that's not that new to us. We've seen transporting evolve throughout Star Trek right up until Picard in 2399. However, to Burnham, that's completely futuristic technology, which isn't that new, really, is it?
But if we think about how on the Shenzhou, the transporter room was massive, and it had the massive, it was called
Lateral
lateral
transporters, yeah.
transporters. Yeah, they had the massive disc. Discovery was better, but it's still you go on a transporter pad and you beam over. So I think it's fine. It's pretty cool. And it's a nice, it's just cool. And I like how it still doesn't have that much of a range.
Yeah.
It's not, when they're transporting away from Requiem or whatever they call the marketplace area, they have to do a couple of transports to get back to the ship.
Yeah, it's like hopping, essentially, isn't it?
But then it also poses the question, did they walk all the way from the ship to Requiem?
That's a long walk.
Book already had the personal transporter, he could have used it then.
But plot, Dom.
But
episode
plot.
time, we've got to extend it a little bit.
It just needed to recharge and get a couple of charges for him to use. Yeah.
Essentially.
He
we wouldn't have got
crashed,
that great
it ran out of
conversation.
charge.
We wouldn't have got that great conversation with the Burn and Starfleet being a ghost if we just hopped along there. Hey, can I talk about Starfleet? Boom. Oh, we're here now. Never mind. We'll talk about it later. What else was I going to say? Something came up there. It reminds me very much from Doctor Who, when Captain Jack had his temporal vortex manipulator, where he's basically hop through time, and the Doctor compared it to just being a bouncy hopper and the TARDIS being a sports car. I might that's a great reference, to be honest.
So, someone in the chat actually does raise the point. They could track his transporter jumps. So that's why he didn't transport over to there, that he just walked. And I really liked how they transported into the water. And they were like, they can't
track us underwater
track
or
that
in
because
rock.
it's they think it's going into another state of matter, and they just can't. I think that was cool.
Oh, definitely. I must have missed that on myself, but it's kind of cool. And then also we got the moment of Book and the Flower of Destiny, which came out of nowhere.
Yeah, we've got to talk about that.
Yeah, do you want us to take that on? Because you were quite interested in that side.
It's interesting. So, is Book isn't human, I guess. He has this natural connection to nature. It's quite spiritual in a way. He grew a plant, and he's able to calm animals.
I
like it, but I think it has to be explored a little more.
Yeah.
Because lights appear on his forehead, and he says a few things, and then a plant appears. It's quite generic sci-fi, I'll say, but it can definitely be explored to be cool. But yeah.
As long as it's properly explained in the series itself, I think it'll make sense. But obviously, one thing we started at the start of the stream, it is only the first episode, so it's right to bear things in mind. We're not going to get the answers right away. We didn't get the answers to season 2, right away in episode 1. It had to take quite a while to get there. And I feel like people are already jumping the gun a little bit by going, oh, why is Dilithium exploding? We'll wait and see. We'll get there.
Also, I think, now thinking about it and being like, oh, I mean, Vulcans can just touch you and transfer memories. Trills have a symbiote relationship. You just accept it.
I can't wait to see more of Trills in
Yes.
this season, because we're definitely going to a Trill planet. Not sure if it is Trill itself, and the reason for going there is going to be interesting. Why they need it. We also see in the preview trailer something which we've described as a temporal observatory before, which appears to be something. It looks like the new Expanse in a way, but yeah, it kind of looks really weird. Right, chat, for the last 10 minutes of the stream, we're going to take some questions for yourselves to discuss, so get away with answering those, asking those in the questions, in the comments, the live chat, that thingy, and we'll answer them here on stream. Gunnar, you say, what's your opinion about the Relay Station? Be a bit more specific. Well, the Relay Station looks interesting, to be honest. It definitely looks like a modern version of the Federation Starbase type, which obviously is like Starbase, Earth Space Dock, I guess, is the common example, aka Starbase 1. So that was interesting to see that. But yeah, you can see it's definitely out here. But I love you seeing like the faded Federation symbol when they're near the hangar. It's like, well, yeah, it's like an element of the past to it, isn't it?
Yeah. And you know, he described it as also a courier waypoint. And they just use it to like move around the place. They probably bring supplies to Mr. Sahil as well. Potentially. I don't know what currency was being used actually, now that we're thinking about it, because they were talking about the hollow sellers and the hollow buyers.
I thought they were exchanging goods and not using currency, or was I mistaken?
I have no idea.
Because I only saw the exchanging of goods for dilithium in the episode.
Well, yeah. It would probably be more like a bartering system, because, you know, if there's not a big government or any government at all, you've just got these warlords and gangsters and whatnot. They're not going to make a currency. They're just going to barter for stuff. You know, we can provide you these antiques if you give us food, stuff like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Valames just brings me a good question. Do you think this feature will stick, or will somehow end up resetting things? That's a good question, to be honest. Do you think, you know, what we see now in the first episode, how the 32nd century is, do you reckon it's going to stay like this lawless, you know, lost and everyone's disconnected? Or do you reckon it's going to reset? Brie, what do you think about that?
I think it's going to be just like other times on Star Trek where it's considered like a dark point and is either, I don't think it's going to be changed, but I think it's going to be seen the same way that, like, obviously to a longer extent, the Dominion War or like the Xindi attack on Earth. Those things weren't retconned, even though they were terrible things that happened. I think this is just going to be another terrible thing that happened to Starfleet and is going to be a dark time. Like, it's going to be considered like the dark times.
And I'll say, like, this future feels very much like whenever we go down to planets in Enterprise.
Yes.
Especially like the first episode. And they go to that place and it's just a lot of aliens and they're just doing their thing. You know, I wouldn't say it'll reset, but they'll bring back the Federation and recover their lost territory and bring order and justice. So
I think it's going to come back, but it's not going to be like time, you know, it's not going to be like time travel-y reset. It's just going to be...
Yeah, it's not like we're going to, like, you know, episode 1 and episode 2 is going to be, oh, look, the Federation are here. Let's all get on the Enterprise and go off on a brand new adventure. Yay! It's not going to happen. As much as people want that to happen. But I want to end the stream as we're here. So for the last 5 minutes, do you think we're going to see a new Enterprise of reference in this series? For your answer, Star Trek is very famous for teasing Enterprise doing it. Enterprise itself had the Enterprise J. Then we've seen other Enterprises. They love talking about Enterprise and doing their own stuff with it. Dom, you answer first. Do you reckon we're going to see a new Enterprise teased, heard of, or referenced in season 3?
In season 3? Well, I'll just say I really dislike the design of the Enterprise J. I hope it's nothing like that.
I'll never see that ship again.
I never see that ship again. It's just too big and too flat. I don't think, you know, some people in the chat are saying it's the Enterprise Z, Enterprise Z, whatever you want to say. I don't think it'll be that far. But I think it'll be mentioned.
I think it'll be mentioned.
And at the very least, it would only appear at the finale.
Please don't do another finale for Discovery of the Enterprise Saves the Day. No.
No, it's just going to appear.
Back to the original Enterprise, only because like, if they are going to go the temporal Cold War route, I feel like if it's one of two things are going to happen. If it's the Discovery crew referencing Star Trek or referencing the Enterprise, it's most likely going to be I don't know. I feel like both of them are just going to be referenced. Both of them would just be referenced to the Enterprise. I mean, they could reference Pike's Enterprise if it was Discovery, but I really think if we're going to get an Enterprise reference to it, I think we're going to get a Enterprise reference, like NX-01 Enterprise.
It could be interesting here for a second.
Some kind of tie-in with the temporal Cold War as is.
The thought just occurred to me, and someone brought it in the chat there as well. To reference the Enterprise, it would be a great thing for them to reference Pike's Enterprise and also tie it into Star Trek Strange New Worlds as well. Because he showed the model and go, look, this is where you left it. It's dead now. Pike's dead. Everybody knew it's dead. Haha. However, look at this ship. By the way, we've got a new season starting for the show sometime soon. Way. Eric, thank you for $5 donation. What if Discovery goes back in time to try and prevent the burn, and if intervention actually helps kick off the Temple Wars? A good little theory. I don't see them going back in time myself. The time suit is destroyed. Well, we see Burnham send it back and it initiates self-destruct. Yes, this is Star Trek. Anything can happen. I don't see them going back in time. I'm pretty sure it's been stated a few times now by the execs of Star Trek, but Discovery's in the 32nd century and there they will stay. Again, it's a story and a plot. Anything could change, but I don't see them going back in time. They're staying in this century now.
One thing I just want to say in regards to like the Enterprise, and also something which if we have time, we should talk about, is if we do get an Enterprise reference, it'll be through Burnham learning about Spock's life after she left.
I can see that.
You know, the last thing Burnham says to Spock is like, you know, reach out to those who are different from you and get friends and stuff. It'll be a really emotional scene for Burnham to be like, okay,
fairy time.
Yeah, you know, we see a database and there's a hologram of Spock, and it's just like Spock became one of
I've got a better one for you. Wait,
Federation.
So you know in Star Trek Discovery Season 2 they showed the archive footage of Pike and, you know, him on Talos 4 with Jeffrey Hunter playing it. It's going to be that, but they'll show the actual TOS episodes and the movies going, look, it's Leonard Nimoy as Spock. Well, how a great opening that would be if Burnham sat there watching it. I'd be like, that would be a great way of doing it. I'm calling it now. We're going to do something like that. £5 going on that one. Somebody owes me a drink at the next event if that comes true. Just saying.
And I think it would be a great way. So one of the episode titles, I think it's episode 7, is called Unification. Ah,
yes, this has been highly discussed.
So, you know, we had Unification 1 and 2 about Vulcan, Romulan reunification. It would definitely be a way to tie Spock in and his efforts in the reunification effort. And the fact that he sacrificed himself to try and save Romulus.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't succeed. He saved the galaxy or whatnot. But, you know, Romulus blew up. And it would be nice to be like, oh, but people remembered Spock and what he taught. And eventually, after maybe another 100 years or whatever, Vulcans and Romulans join together.
Potentially. That is an interesting thing to explore. Unification, obviously a big storyline of, you know, Star Trek Next Gen.
So much.
There's always
to the reunification of Vulcans and Romulans.
Even in Enterprise, they explored it briefly with their little, like, what the Romans were sneaking around up to, being creepy bastards as per usual. It's like, oh, the unification of people have to take longer. It's like, you weren't up to that. You was up to something else. You sneaky bastard. But yes, that brings us to the end of our stream for this week, the first episode of Star Trek Discovery. I think we've discussed everything here today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for tuning in and bringing in your chats, etc. And all of you who donated to the stream this evening. It's been a pleasure back here discussing Star Trek Discovery. We've just had 10 weeks of Lower Decks, and now we've got 13 weeks, or 12 weeks after this week, of Star Trek Discovery, which is going to be fantastic, taking us all the way up until January 2021. Hopefully next year's a bit better, because this year's shit. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed that. Don't forget, you can watch our review here on the YouTube channel. Go check it out, and let us know your thoughts on Episode 1 of Season 3. Episode 2's out later this week, and Dom, what's it called again, Episode 2? Do we have a list in front of us?
I did, but I got rid of it. It's called...
It's called Let Me Open this Google Chrome tab and search it as quickly as possible before Jack runs out of
a sentence.
It's
called Far From Home.
There we go. That's
I'm
interesting.
professional. Yep.
Where's part 2 to a new... Okay. I was going to call it A New Hope then for episode 1. That's what we're calling it now. And Discovery, A New Hope. Thank you very much for tuning in to the stream. We'll be back next week. Myself, Nick, Dom will be back next week, and hopefully with a special guest who we've not yet confirmed just yet. Be keeping an eye out for that as we're trying to get more guests on. If you want your favourite Star Trek YouTuber to come and join Team TC for a Sunday night live stream discussing Star Trek Discovery, tag them on Twitter with one of our posts and tag myself at Captain Jack YT, and we will try and sort that out, as it'd be great to have more of the Star Trek community on here discussing Star Trek Discovery with us. Of course, that's it for myself and the team tonight. Brie, Dom, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Awesome. And live long and prosper, my friends. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye.